Well. The New York Jets always give us something to talk about. Well, I'll react to the news. Plus, we'll provide you the latest insider details on what the hell is going on between the New York Jets and Haason Reddick. Let's roll.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas. Boy Green Daily starts now. Zoinks!
I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
You're fucking depression.
What's up, everybody? Paul Eston Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Every.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you get your podcast. Thank you to everyone coming in. Make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe. We appreciate the support. Means the world. And good morning to the Boy Green Coffee Club, the YouTube membership group. If you'd like to join the Boy Green Coffee Club or gift some memberships, feel free to do so. To buy your own membership, you could do so in the YouTube description down below. Also, you'll find down there the latest on Haason Reddick. And I'm going to break the fourth wall here and let you guys know what the hell happened yesterday. So, we do this show. I go to the radio show. I do that show. I have to rush back home because, long story short, my family had some medical things to do. My fiance, she's pregnant. She had to go to these pregnancy appointments. Okay, no problem. So I'm on dad duty. No issue. I love being on dad duty. Anywho, so it's me and my daughter. My daughter's like, Dad, I'm tired. I'm like, oh, okay, let's go take a nap. Yesterday. So we go to the bedroom. We lights off. Okay, boom. We go to bed. I woke up to the Haason Reddick news. Yeah, can you imagine the look on my face? Ba-ding! Well, what the hell happened while I was sleeping? What could have possibly happened over the last, 2 hours? What the hell? Haason Reddick demands a trade from the New York Jets. For the second time in 6 months, Haason Reddick has asked for his trade. And there's a lot of hubbub going on out there on social media and where people are. And I want to set the record straight on several items and provide the latest insider details on this. Here's my take on Haason Reddick demanding a trade. Haason Reddick is pulling out the last piece that he has with him. And that is making this as dramatic as possible. Absolutely dramatic as possible. And demanding a trade and stomping his feet and not showing up. And the Jets immediately return fire with a statement. And the statement reads, we're not trading you, Haason, so you can keep not showing up and keep getting fined, buddy. And that he has. These are non-waivable training camp fines that are $50,000 a day that have surged over $1 million. He missed a full game check from skipping out on the preseason game. That's just under $800,000. There's the $300,000 optional fine. Sounds like based on the relationship right now between Reddick and the Jets, they're exercising that optional fine. He gave up $250,000 in OTAs. He gave up $100,000 in minicamp fines. Good Lord. Have mercy. It's just not ideal. But what is ideal is, and Jake, you'll be happy for this. Jake Asman here gives us a super chat, which means, of course, we have no other choice but to do this. Play the gosh darn chant, baby. I woke up yesterday from a nap with my daughter to the Haason Reddick news, and the first thing I saw they let me know that Haason Reddick demanded a trade was a notification, ba-ding, from the Jake Asman show. Hey, we're reacting to Haason Reddick demanding a trade. I'm like, what in the hoot? So shout out to Jake Asman. Me waking up from my nap with my daughter, that's how I found out the news. If you have that little bell notification on Jake Asman's channel, he'll let you know when new videos are hitting the feed. Did not have that on the bingo card yesterday. So appreciate the super chat, Jake Asman. He was doing ESPN New York yesterday morning, and then he's doing, everything later. So shout it out with Wake Up and Boy Green It Up in the morning, baby. That's how I found out the news. So, yeah, shout out to Jake Asman, which we do shows every Friday. Check those out. Those have been a hoot. There's been a lot of action on those Friday shows. They are cross-streamed both here on my channel and his. But I'll just say this on Haason Reddick. I reiterate that the Jets hold the power here. If Haason Reddick, this dips into the regular season, and he doesn't show up for the Jets, his contract tolls and the Jets hold his rights next year, he won't be a free agent. Father Time is undefeated. Haason Reddick is 29. He turns 30 in September. Can Haason Reddick afford to skip out an entire season and take away a season of what some would believe and some would argue is his prime as a pass rusher in the league? Not sure if I buy that. Who's going to win the game of chicken? Let's put them on one side. Multi-billion-dollar organization that has really good defense already, or Haason Reddick, who's been already fined up the wazoo. I'm leaning towards organization. Who am I going to lean towards? Haason Reddick, who is under contract for this season, under his salary, and he can complain that he doesn't like it and he feels underpaid. But the fact of the matter is, Jack, you're not an unrestricted free agent. You're under contract. So if you're going to play for anyone this year, it's the Jets. That's the cold, hard truth. You might not like it, but you signed the contract, buddy, a handful of years ago. That's the truth. That's the stone cold truth. Now, I want to put that aside just for a moment, just to address. I was going back and forth with fans yesterday about the Jets made this horrible mistake with Bryce Huff. Yes. Previously, they should have signed Bryce Huff. They probably could have got Bryce a year or two ago at 3 years for $20 million. They should have done it. They didn't. That's on the Jets. Yes, I agree that was a mistake. There's no doubt about it. They had moments where Bryce Huff was just hanging out there in the ethos, and they could have signed him to a team-friendly deal. They did not, and ultimately he becomes a free agent. There's no question they should have signed him at that point. But when we got to this offseason, and the Jets were saying, hey, man, we want to win a Super Bowl, and we want the best possible people to do it, there is zero question that Haason Reddick is a better football player than Bryce Huff. I had too many of my fellow Jets content creators out there. Matt O'Leary, Buffalo Jet fan, Brandon Pockris with a P, that all came out and said, well, I won't generalize them all together, but they're all in the camp that maybe we should have just kept Huff instead of Reddick. Maybe the production's going to be incredibly similar. And I just pushed back completely. Bryce Huff, I love the guy. He's been on this show. We've interacted on private DMs on Instagram and Twitter. Huff's a great guy. I love Huff. It's been a great relationship. We have a great relationship. I love that. But I have to keep it straight with you guys and not just sell you up the river and say, oh, Haason Reddick, Bryce Huff would have clearly been better. Bryce Huff, got to keep confusing these guys. I shouldn't. Bryce Huff got 10 sacks last year, the highest mark of his career. He got that in a contract year. I like Bryce Huff, okay? But Haason Reddick we know what he is. Haason Reddick is number 4 in the NFL in sacks over the last 4 years, 50 and a half sacks. There is no way on this God green earth that Bryce Huff was in the same category, stratosphere, planet Earth as Haason Reddick. You're doing a ton of projecting. You're doing a ton of projecting on playing time. You're doing a ton of projecting on statistical achievements that he has not done. That's what people are doing on the Bryce Huff thing. Again, Bryce Huff, cool human. I love the undrafted free agent story. That's awesome. But if we're being honest with ourselves, Haason Reddick is here and Bryce Huff is here. That's why it was worth it for the New York Jets to make that trade for Haason Reddick. And I still believe that it is. And yes, Snowball says it right there. It is potential versus reality. Potentially, could he be blee, blah, blue over the next handful of years? Possibly. But reality says that Haason Reddick is one of the most dominant pass rushers in the NFL, and that's why the Jets acquired him. That's the truth. That's the truth. And some people don't want to hear it. Some people just want to blame Joe Douglas and say this or that. We could blame Joe Douglas for not having a contract in hand with Reddick and doing that, which we're going to get into some of the insider conversation. But I just wanted to say off the top that Bryce Huff and Haason Reddick are not in the same conversation. They're not. If they were, Bryce Huff likely would have gotten more than $17 million per year. Okay? The highest pass rusher in football makes double Bryce Huff. That's Nick Bosa at $34 million per year. If he had a stronger market, he would have signed for more money. He signed for $17 million, which is great for Bryce Huff. It's the largest non-quarterback undrafted free agent contract a undrafted free agent has ever signed ever. Bryce Huff, you secured the bag, buddy, but he's not in the same realm. Now, I want to get into some of the insider nuggets here. I want to get into some of the insider conversations. Again, we have a full article in the YouTube description down below. We're going to walk through a couple of things here. So this, according to NFL insider Diana Russini of The Athletic, is a broken trust that currently exists between the two parties. Here's her on social media. Quote, the Jets never made a new offer on a long-term extension because they say they were informed by Reddick's rep that he would play under his current contract. That is not the player's side. Reddick's camp believes the Jets said they would do a deal and trusted this would get done by camp. A few weeks ago, the Jets called him and said they'd be willing to rework his current deal if he showed up. From the player's side, that's not what they agreed to before the trade, so he didn't show up. Now trust is broken by all. That's according to Diana Russini of The Athletic. End quote. Now let's get into some intriguing parts that I'm not sure if we've talked about on the show fully. At the time of the trade, Joe Douglas offered a contract extension to Haason Reddick. It was a pay raise. Again, he's scheduled to make $14.25 million in the final year of his contract this year. Joe Douglas, before the trade, says, hey, man, we'll extend you at this number. We don't know what that number is, but it was a raise on 14.25. Reddick rejected the deal because it was, quote-unquote, below market. Below the market, of course, of what he's seeking, which is $25 million. There's a big-ass gap of money from $14.25 to $25 million, and Douglas was somewhere in the middle. I don't know where it is. We don't have that knowledge. Reddick's camp has not revealed that. But to me, that's kind of interesting because if he offered him an extension and a raise, what are we talking about here? Especially since, again, he's not in a position of power. He's not an unrestricted free agent. Here's this. A lot of people have said, hey, Paul, why did the Jets only have to give up a third-round draft choice? Maybe that means Haason Reddick is over the hill. Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport shared this yesterday. Quote, there was no team besides the Jets that were willing to do a trade and give Haason Reddick a new contract. So a couple of months later, are those same teams that would also trade for him, give him a new deal, something that would make him happy? Obviously, it is something that remains to be seen. You can have needs, you can have injuries, there are leverage points that are created, but for Haason Reddick and the Jets, after all this, they are literally nowhere, end quote. Again, I think it's important to note that the Jets were the only team in the NFL, 32 teams, one was the Jets, one was Eagles. The only team out of the other 30 teams that was willing to both trade for him and give him a new deal, which the Jets offered him, he rejected. Okay, I think that's important to note. So the reason why he only went for a third-round pick is because the Jets were the only one that was willing to give him the deal. Here's this, according to Zach Rosenblatt. So we're kind of putting together a ton of insider conversation and then trying to filter out to try to find our solution. Zach Rosenblatt said several teams that were initially interested in Reddick called up the Eagles, said, okay, what are we talking about here? What's this going to take? And, well, apparently they heard $25 million, and they went, boop, and they hung up the phone. It's according to Zach Rosenblatt on some of those team-to-team conversations. Now, before we could get into, I see Jared B. has this in here. Where was it? All you have to do is listen to Haason Reddick's initial press conference, which, by the way, let me read you that quote. 1 second. It was pulled. Thank you to Ari Meroff of the 33rd team. He pulled the quote from Haason Reddick. Remember, the only time Haason Reddick has shown up this offseason was April 1st. Haha, April Fool's joke. The only time that Haason Reddick showed up to the Jets was for his introductory press conference. Here, by the way, was a quote that Haason Reddick said back on April. Quote, whatever happens, this is about his contract, whatever happens, I'm going to be happy. I'm going to give my all no matter what. That's just who I am as a person. No matter how it goes, how many years, I'm going to be here for however long I'm here for, and I'm going to give the team and the fans everything that I have. That was April 1st. It's August 13th. So Reddick went into the facility one time for his introductory press conference and physical to pass the trade, and then he went home, and he hasn't been back since. He skipped OTAs, he skipped minicamp, he skipped the entirety of training camp to this point, and he skipped the first preseason game, which has resulted in a ton of fines. The Jets' message, if you've been paying attention to it this offseason, has been very clear and very consistent. They're the ones that are not changing the story. They said from the very get-go that Haason Reddick and his camp indicated to them that he would be willing to play under his current deal and that future alterations could happen in the future. It sounds like that Reddick did change his mind and that he agreed to do it, and they said, well, leverage play. Bryce Huff is gone. JFM gets traded during the draft. Now, they need me. In theory, this is what he's saying to himself, more than I need them. You know what? I'm gonna pull out the big boy pants and try to see if I could get a crazy deal. So far, Haason Reddick has been completely unsuccessful in those attempts. And as Leger Douzable joined us yesterday, great interview. Thank you to Leger for popping on the show. Leger, as he pointed out, and said this story about Chris Jones, that eventually you hold out so much that the amount of money you lose ends up being the bump. If the Jets eventually, quote unquote, cave and say, fine, Reddick, we'll give you $4 more million or something. All that $4 million is going to go to all the fines and non-waivable fees that they were able to do for him in the first place. So Reddick would have no one to blame but himself for all the money that he has lost. So again, it seems like to me, Haason Reddick has changed the script, and they hold all the cards because they could keep finding him up the wazoo, which according to Joe Douglas in his statement, they 1,000% plan on doing. And Reddick eventually has to play for the Jets. If he's going to play for a team this year, it's going to be the Jets outside of a trade. And Joe Douglas said, pack it, pal. I'm not going to trade you. So we've gotten into a very awkward position, haven't we? Because as Connor Hughes confirmed, his contract tolls, if he doesn't show up this year, he's back next year. That's the truth. So very, very interesting. But before we get anywhere else and we get to potential solutions and things of that nature and super chats and all that jazz, memberships, all that, that's all welcome. Let's try to provide a solution. Josina Anderson, senior NFL insider, has joined this show before. She provided a solution. It sounds like she's had some conversations with both sides about something that could be amenable. Here we go. This is also in the column. You guys can follow along. She said that the situation between Haason Reddick and the New York Jets is, quote, pretty simple, end quote. She explained that the solution to these issues is concessions from both sides. Here is the Josina Anderson solution plan to solve the Reddick and Jets situation. She said Reddick showing up and changing his holdout to a hold-in would, quote, generate some goodwill that team sources have consistently said would help the situation while still defending his principle, end quote. Again, couldn't agree more. The Jets want him in the building, and then they'll start to negotiate with him. Plus, it would be goodwill. He doesn't have to practice. Obviously, he can pull the Brandon Ayuk. Jordan Love did this. He held in until he got his new deal. It would be a very effective strategy instead of blowing off your teammates who, by the way, you've gained no chemistry with, no camaraderie, no Robert Saleh, nothing. You haven't been in person since April 1st. That would help. Okay, next on her list. She says if Reddick were willing to do that, the Jets could alleviate some of the fines that the veteran pass rusher has been slapped on this offseason. Now, quick timeout. I'm not reading from Anderson anymore. That they can't touch the Jets, can't touch the training camp fines. So $50,000 a day, it's in the CBA. Those are non-waivable. So no matter what, if Reddick shows up today, doesn't matter. Those fines are still coming out of his paycheck. So that is just over $1 million. It's $1 million and $50,000. $1 million and $50,000 on top of that. Today, they will go to $1.1 million to make it a little easier to say here on the show. But the thing that the Jets could waive is the discretionary fine, which is $300,000. Josina Anderson said the Jets could wipe that away as a sign of goodwill. Okay, interesting. Now, here's the other thing, and this must be coming from the Reddick camp. When I read this on Josina Anderson's tweet, she said the new contract for Reddick would have to be above the average per year that former Jet Bryce Huff received from the Eagles in free agency. Pause time. I could imagine it might be a little embarrassing for Haason if he ends up getting a deal for anything less than Bryce Huff, considering the massive differences between the two players. One has 1 double-digit sack season. The other has 4 straight double-digit sack seasons. And by the way, for those counting at home, that's $17 million per year. Interesting. And finally, here's the last piece of the puzzle and Anderson's pitch. Again, this is Josina Anderson's potential solution between the Jets and Haason Reddick. And the final part of it is that the Jets would ramp up Reddick's participation once all these things are accomplished, right? So hold out to hold in. Jets increase contract offer to at least Bryce Huff. Then we've gotten to this step here of all this jazz where the Jets would ramp up his participation and the play to, the slow to play protocol, whatever Robert Saleh calls it, where someone who hasn't been in camp comes in, and then they gradually work him up. So that's something the Jets do anyway, so that's an easy concession to make for that standpoint, because they don't want Haason Reddick any more injured than anyone else. So that makes plenty of sense. So there you go. That's a potential solution for all parties and working it all together. So here's the thing. Here's the bottom line truth, and I've said this since the beginning, and we've had all kinds of great takes. FL Phil has talked about a contract extension that is kind of like a quasi 2-year deal where you get him in camp and you make everybody happy, and maybe the Jets eventually relent and go to that realm. I will just say this. This is the truth. This is the truth. The Jets need Reddick. Reddick needs the Jets. Reddick can't play for any other team until he plays for the Jets. That's the truth. The Jets are trying to win a Super Bowl. Is their defense really good? It's been top 5 2 straight years without Haason Reddick. Yes. The Jets defense is probably still good without Haason Reddick. There's no doubt about that. But Haason Reddick unquestionably makes them better. He was going to be a starting defensive end opposite of Jermaine Johnson. That's a very important role. This is a guy who is dominant and one of the best players in the league. Yes, the Jets need that. If they want to win the Super Bowl, they need Haason Reddick to do it. So, Snowball here, in the immortal words of my father, cut the shit. That's ultimately what we have to get down here, because the more time that we drag on here, the more difficult it's going to be, because I think Reddick is eventually showing up at some point. He has to. And when he does, it's going to be super annoying if he shows up in a month, a few days after the first game, and whatever happens in the first game, now we have a Reddick that's going to be compromised. It's going to take him time to get into football shape and be ready, and the Jets are going to be like, damn, you could have showed up a month ago and it would have been a lot better. I will also say this, and then we'll open up the phone lines. Boy, first impressions, Haason Reddick. Not great, Bob. Because think about this. Okay? Haason Reddick has gone public with his trade request, right? His history with the Jets is showing up for one day, the introductory press conference. Did he think when he requested a trade publicly that the fans would all of a sudden pressure Joe Douglas? Oh, my God, you got to pay this guy. What are we doing here? You got to pay this guy. He has no street cred with the Jets. He's been here a day. All those double-digit sack seasons I talk about are with other teams. He has no street cred with Jet fans. He has no street cred with his teammates. He has no street cred with the Jets themselves as an organization. He's shown zero goodwill outside of showing up for the first day and saying everything's hunky-dory when apparently it wasn't. That's it. So, boy, the first impression, not ideal. And let me just say this. If the Jets apparently weren't in a rush to pay Haason Reddick the money that he wanted before over the last couple of months, do you think they're going to be in a rush now that you've made a very public trade demand and have made the Jets, in theory, look like idiots and laughingstocks and unnecessary distractions? If I'm Joe Douglas, I'm like, fuck you, pal. Hey, you think now I'm going to pay you some ridiculous number that you want, and then you're going to stroll into camp with a little pep on your step and a smirk on your face? I don't think so. Again, Haason Reddick's the one who's getting fined up the wazoo. He's the one who's getting older. Father Time's undefeated. Buddy, the team is winning this battle, and it serves you just to show up. Now, we'll see if you can curtail that into a contract, but we'll see. I know there's different people. For instance, Lucas says, I love how the Jets have handled this on Facebook. And there have been others that have been on the other side of it. I'm just telling you, man, I think Haason Reddick has made some poor decisions. His agent, by the way, is Tory Dandy. Jared B. texted me before the show and asked if that's the same agent as Joe Douglas. I don't know who the agent is for Joe Douglas, so I'm not sure off the top of my head. I didn't remember it being Tory Dandy, but I couldn't confirm before the show. I was trying to Google it real quick and look through a few things, and I couldn't find it, so I don't know. But all I can say is this. Regardless of who his agent is, it doesn't matter. Haason Reddick's agent is Tory Dandy, and he has advised Reddick to not show up. And he is getting fined an unbelievable, painful amount of money to Haason, and it's only going to get larger. If he skips the entire preseason, that's $2.37 million, and he's already getting $50,000 a day. It's just a stubborn thing here, and it's not getting better. And if he holds on to the season, he's only jeopardizing his own NFL career. The Jets are going to keep on moving. Players come and go. Again, he's super important. It behooves everybody to figure this out. It behooves Haason Reddick to show up so he stops getting fined. It behooves the Jets to have Haason Reddick in the building because he helps them win a Super Bowl. If they're going to win a Super Bowl, it's going to be with the help of Haason Reddick. It would be an unbelievable, incredible feat if they were able to do it without him. Because let's be honest, the Jets thought they needed Haason Reddick. That's why they traded for him. If they thought Will McDonald, as an example, if they thought Jermaine Johnson, Will McDonald would have been enough, plus another random veteran pass rusher, they would have done that because that would have been cheaper. But they didn't, because they believe that Haason Reddick can help them, and I agree he can help them. That's a stone cold truth. So we'll see what happens. But I'll just tell you, after all the good vibes of the first preseason game and all that jazz, I'm going to be honest, this is not the swift kick in the family jewels that any of us was hoping for here on August 13th, less than a month from the start of the 2024 season for the New York Jets, which, by the way, is Monday, September 9th. We are well under a month until the season kicks off for the Jets, when games really matter. And this is not the kind of conversations we want to be having during that time. Robert Saleh, by the way, is set to speak. It should be around 12:20 today. We'll see what he has to say about all this. He has not been asked about Haason Reddick since August 5th at his press conference conversations. So we'll see what happens. All right, let's drop in the call-in line. You guys can call into the show and share your take on this mess. And we'll see where we go from here. But let's try to spread the positive vibes. So let's get some of those memberships going. I believe we're 10 members away from our next emoji. And when Snowball comes back to America from Italy, we'll be catching up on those. We already have one emoji we have unlocked, and we'll be working on that behind the scenes with our buddy Snowball. And I believe we're 10 memberships away from unlocking the one after that. So great. We're going to be in a phenomenal position from that standpoint, people. So let's keep that train rolling, baby, as far as that's concerned, and see if we can unlock another one of those today. So, guys, appreciate it. All right, let's go to our first caller here. This is, I think he's ready. Let's go to Big Green. What's up?
Oh, what's going on, Paul? I agree 100% what the Jets are doing. Do not pay this man. He's under contract.
Mm-hmm.
All, like, the main ESPN people are all bashing the Jets, and I think every single one of them is wrong. Like,
okay.
No, you're not going to get paid. You're under contract. You own your rights. You'll show up, or we're going to fine you until you're broke.
Mm-hmm.
What other job does that happen in? Every job. If I don't show up to work, I'm going to get fired. This guy's just going to sit on the couch.
Yeah, and I don't think Jet fans, to your point, Big Green, are going to have any moment in their heart where they're like, boy, let's sing sad songs here for Reddick. Reddick's got no credence with the team. Why in God's green earth would they be begging for him to get paid? I think it's quite the opposite. I think most people would have your take, and rightfully so, as far as I'm concerned. Again, he's got no street cred with the Jets.
Plus, he's also setting a precedent for anybody else that wants to come in the future.
Exactly. Plus, we have other Jets to pay. Sauce,
yep.
Michael Carter II. If the Jets bend the knee and end up paying up Reddick, they're going to go like, oh, so that's how we get paid. And that's going to set a very bad precedent. You're right.
So when do you think he actually shows up by, if you had to put a guess on it?
Well, my first guess was the first preseason game, so that was obviously wrong. I think these game checks are the one that's really killing him. Don't get me wrong, $50,000 a day, ooh, that would hit me pretty quick. But those are the biggies. So those are somewhere in the ballpark of like the next one. I think is somewhere like $1 million-ish, and then the next one it has to be 1.7. So, a long story short, it's $2.37 million for all three preseason games missed. So it's doled up in some way. The other big one's coming up on Saturday. So if I'm Reddick, I'm showing up before the end of the week.
So I have a question for you. What's going on with Jordan? Is he participating in any of the preseason, or is he still hurt?
Yeah, he's still hurt. He's on the NFI list. That's because of the non-football injury list. That was an injury he suffered in college with the gruesome leg fracture. My gut tells me, I don't have this 100% confirmed yet, but my gut tells me he's going to be out for this year. They're going to redshirt him officially by placing him in IR, so technically he won't be on the 53-man roster, but he'll be in the building, he'll be in the room, he'll be learning, and instead our QB3 will be one of probably Andrew Peasley or Adrian Martinez.
Which one would you prefer? I mean, Martinez did show out a little bit more, so I think he should get the starting reps for the preseason game. or at least the
Yeah, I
first.
agree.
I don't even want Tyrod anymore.
Wow.
I don't want
I'm
Tyrod. No. Hang on, let me correct that. I didn't want Tyrod playing in the preseason. I still want him as our backup. But
I
now
was
I
like,
think
oh,
it should
thank
just
God.
be.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it should just be these two guys.
Yeah, I would say I want Adrian Martinez right now, but both players did well. Again, both got 4 drives. Both of them scored twice. One got a touchdown field goal, another one got a touchdown field goal. So I'm leaning Martinez right now because of the scramble ability. I think that's key. Peasley doesn't seem to have that in his game. So right now I'm leaning towards Martinez, and let's see what the two kids do throughout the rest of the preseason.
All right, and before I go, what about receivers? How many do you think we take on?
Yeah, it's going to be 6 or 7. 7 would be Irv Charles, the special teamer, making it seems like the Jets are pretty high on him. So I will lean 7 right now. So we'd have, let me see if I'm making sure I do the math live here on the show. So we have Garrett Wilson, we have Mike Williams, we have Alan Lazard, we have Xavier Gibson, we have, like I said, we'll have Irv Charles potentially. You have Malachi Corley, obviously, and then your 7th is that Jason Brownlee, right? So that's probably your 7.
I want this. I want to see that Smith guy.
Brandon Smith, coming out of nowhere. That'd be great. Yeah, we'll see what happens during the preseason, pal.
All right, well, I'll be listening. Have a good day,
Appreciate
Paul.
it. Thank you. Big Green joining us here on the show. Let's give him one of these on the way out. Thank you to Big Green, my long-lost brother. Appreciate you. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. We got NY Jets FL here on the program. What's up, pal? It's a wonderful garage. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Good morning. Tremendous overview of the situation, by the way.
I appreciate that.
Well, I have a question for you then, Paul, not to get into your personal relationship with Huff, but it seems to be an important factor here. I have a theory on Huff possibly wanting to leave, maybe to go to a more stable organization. Jake Asman said he went for the money. But I looked at it as if you're in the playoffs every year, as a player, you still want a ring, unless you're completely obsessed with money. You still want to win championships. Do you feel that he was going to leave regardless? Or I'm talking about Huff. I mean, without, compromising your relationship with him, was he looking forward to seeing what else was out there, or what can you give us? What little tidbit can you give us? If you can?
Yeah. I think so. First off, money obviously was a massive factor. He was very transparent about that in public. He wanted a bag, and he was a guy who, again, normal people like us don't have to cry about the money he was making. And I want to reiterate that. He made $4.3 million on the restricted free agent tender. His 3 years before that on a UDFA contract, he made somewhere in the ballpark of $3 to $4 million. So he had made somewhere in the neighborhood of $7 million through his first, whatever, let's call that 4 seasons in the NFL. So he's ready to get the bag. So money was a prerequisite, and I think he would have been willing to go to Saskatchewan if they paid him the most money. So I think that was super important to him. But I would say the other part was, and he was public about this too, is he said he wanted to play, and he thinks that he is among, and that's what NFL players have to have, that confidence. They think they're among some of the best at their position, but he believes that he has not been able to show, or he wasn't able to show with the Jets that he was in that category because they played him in certain amount of the time. So that a respect thing, a mana spirit thing, something inside his very fibers. He wanted to go to a place that would feature him, and he believes that the Eagles are going to do that. Now we'll see. They seem like a little bit of a rotation team too, so I'll be kind of curious to see if they give him the PT that he was seeking. But I can't lie, NY Jets FL. For you asking that question, this is something I haven't talked about before from some of those conversations with Bryce. But winning was something that wore on him a little bit, or lack of winning, rather, for the Jets, and being there and it beating him down. And it's interesting because you see a guy like Quinnen, who, again, Quinnen wants to win really badly too, but he like saw the light at the end of the tunnel. So like he could see that if we kept chugging along, he thought we were going to get there, and then Aaron Rodgers and everything, and we all think he's going to get there. Huff, I don't know if he saw the same light at the end of the tunnel, if I'm being straight. So, yes, I think that was a factor too, going to an organization that, again, I don't know how stable they are coming off of last year, but in a general sense, you're right. The Eagles have won, they won the Super Bowl a handful of years ago, punched that one off the bucket list. The organization team has been doing a lot of winning. They've been spectacular. They've been in the Super Bowl conversation. They've been in the playoffs conversation. Jalen Hurts at the time was the highest paid quarterback in football. They got a ton of talent all over the place. And so that all made a lot of sense. So I don't know if that was factor number one, but it was certainly in his factors of decisions.
Plus, he could get a second contract with the Eagles or somebody else. He's young enough to get a decent second contract.
To double dip,
especially,
100%.
Yeah, especially if the Eagles win a ring, that's on his resume. It's not like some players who ride the bench and win a ring and then, he'd be an active participant, right? But the thing that you mentioned Quinnen. Quinnen comes from a top program. It was a top 10 pick and got a tremendous amount of money.
Yes,
that he deserved. Huff was he was undrafted, right? So he had to basically take the hard route, and I can't blame him for taking the contract that he took. But now I understand. I was trying to get into the psychology of Huff as a person. If I was a player and I was blessed to be developed by the Jets, you'd have some loyalty. But then again, like I said, if you want to win a ring or you want to be with a more successful organization or a stable or potentially organization, I take that 99 times out of 100.
Yeah, and there's a lot of multi-billion-dollar organizations, so I think Huff realized that someone was going to pay him a lot of money, and if a lot of people are going to pay him a lot of money, which it seemed like that was a conversation for agency that got to his point where he's getting $17 million per year, he said, "Why not play for one that looks like?" I'm taking a guess here. I'm Bryce Huff. I'm not an NFL reporter or analyst or anything. The Eagles are a team that's always in there, and that you look at that NFC East. Why not them as opposed to if all these teams are the same, relatively speaking, and the money is negligible, why not the Eagles? That to me makes a ton of sense.
So that's what I was trying to get out yesterday. We don't know the whole story
with
Huff's situation, especially Reddick's situation now. So JD cannot really be blamed for not signing Huff as much, which I didn't really put the blame on him too much anyway, because you don't know what the player wants. You don't know what the player wants. I personally thought he wanted out, like I explained earlier, that he wanted to go to a more stable situation. So,
yeah, the only thing I would say is I'm with you. I don't think I'm with you. I don't think Joe Douglas made a mistake this offseason. If he had made a mistake in the Bryce Huff party, it would have been taking advantage of Bryce Huff when he was making pennies. And when he's on the relative, again, I'm saying this in a relative sense, as he's begging for change in the NFL streets, if Joe Douglas would have come to him a year and a half ago and said, "Hey, here's a 3-year deal for $20 million, life-changing money for you and your family, here you go."
Right.
I think Bryce Huff would have taken that handout, and he would have been like, "Thank you very much. Look, you guys are paying me before you have to. Love it. I love being part of the team. Boom, give me the money." Because security, Bryce Huff could have blown out anything, and then all of a sudden he never gets that money. So I think if you want to challenge Douglas for that, it was right then and there, and it might have even been 3 years, 15, to be honest with you. It might have been even smaller because of what Huff had done to that point. It was all analytical, pressure numbers and things of that nature. It wasn't actual hard, stone cold sacks. So I think they could have done it. Now, you could blame him for that, but what happened this offseason, it almost felt inevitable based on the other teams that were going to be interested and the Jets' lack of putting him in the position that he really desired of getting that kind of playing time.
All right, Paul. I don't want to keep beating this over the head, so let other calls come on. But I appreciate your, being upfront with, talking about Huff's personal, maybe a certain personal conversation. So have a good one. I'll listen for the other calls.
All right, beautiful. NY Jets FL joining us here on the show. We got a ton of calls. I will get to all of you guys. All right, let's go next here. We got a new guy here, Nate here on the show. What's up, Nate?
What's up, Boy Green? How's it going? Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear, brother.
Excellent. I listen a lot in the mornings. I usually don't have my clothes on yet, but I'm on my way to practice, so I'm able to I'm able to call in now, but thanks as always for the shows in the morning.
Thank you.
This is an unfortunate situation, but I almost don't blame anyone. Obviously, I don't blame Joe.
Sure.
And him putting out that statement, he's never put out a statement like that. I don't think he's lying at all with him and the organization being consistent with what they've said. It sucks for Haason. I feel like he should have held out last year. I mean, he's a guy that played for his hometown team in Philly. He's from South Jersey. He overperformed every year, even going into last year. I think he had like a mini holdout or something he did with the ego. He should have held out last year to get paid. And they're the team. They screwed him by, squeezing everything out of him and then trading him for a third when it was time to pay him. So, but Joe Douglas, like what if he? I mean, I was picturing this to be a sticky situation because you're getting a hired gun, but a guy who's a top 5 pass rusher in the league that you traded.
Yeah.
He's obviously going to want that big time money. And like I said, he just got screwed from his hometown team, so he's not Mr. Nice Guy right now. He needs his money. And so
which I think is an important piece. Just to jump in, that's the thing that kind of gets me a little bit is that it feels like that past relationship burns. Haason Reddick is unloading on the Jets. Like maybe he's not this angry at the Jets, but he's angry at everybody else, and then the Jets are the only thing that's in front of him. So he's unloading on the Jets for this, I believe.
No, I completely agree. It's Bryce Huff to an extent too. Bryce Huff didn't like his playing time, how he's treated here, maybe all that stuff. I don't think he ever wanted to be a Jet. You mentioned earlier, or Ted mentioned earlier, the rotational piece with the defensive line. Like all of that stuff factors in. It's not just money on the table. But if Joe Douglas, if he's able to pull, I still think I agree with you. He's gonna play. The guy, he can't sit out a 30-year-old season. We still have his rights next year. It would be ridiculous. So he's got to show up and play at some point. But if Joe Douglas pulls this off, this is like teaching a class in how to GM. We're talking about drafting Jermaine Johnson. You got Will McDonald last year in the first round. Then you're able to let Huff walk. I still agree with it because Huff got a 3-year deal. We're hoping to have Reddick for 1 year, or I am at least. Next year, that Huff money is going to go to Sauce. It's going to go to all the guys that we all have jerseys for. So I completely agree. But like I said, he could teach a class in GMing. If this works out and you get a hired gun, a top 5 edge to fill in for a transitional year while Will McDonald takes his knock on wood, Jermaine jumped this year in his second year, then you let him walk after a Jets Super Bowl, and then you got your 2 young edges. This is how it's done. I don't get the people ripping Joe, and like I said, I don't know who it is. I don't know if it's Haason's agent. I don't know if he's not going about this the right way. I think if he would have did the sit in and go to camp, and just act like he's hurt, like I think you've mentioned a couple times, I think it'd be easier to negotiate with the team. Listen, I know I'm a new Jet, but I've done right by you since day one. I've showed up. I just want guarantees and a little bit of boost, and he wouldn't be getting these fines like you talked about. You said earlier with the fines. I don't think the fines, you're getting fined millions of dollars. That's not getting taxed. That's coming right out your pocket, and then your money is getting taxed up the wazoo. So.
Yeah, you made a great point. My father said this over the weekend. That's what people may not understand about this. According to the United States government, Haason Reddick's making $14.25 million this year. So he could get fined up and he has to pay that. Then he has to pay the government the taxes on the 14.25. So again, it just seems like an odd, decision to be, swimming in those waters and doing it. This also, I didn't get a chance to mention this, but because Haason Reddick hasn't showed up, he's on the did not report list. The Jets have all of his money actually in cap space. So technically right now, the Jets have about $20 million in cap space. Normally they would only have $6 million in change because obviously Haason, they planned on him showing up. So the Jets have money if they have to pivot and go get a veteran pass rusher in free agency. If this Haason Reddick thing continues to kind of drag out here, they have money to do something. Obviously none of us want that because obviously whoever they get as a free agent here on August 13th, there's going to be a reason insert person is a free agent on August 13th. So it's not going to be Haason Reddick. So we hope we don't have to reach to those waters.
Yeah, you're right. But if the guy wants to sit out all season, trade for a pass rusher at the deadline, and then guess what? Haason Reddick's still under contract next year for you because the guy wants to sit out at 31 and realize that he has unfortunately he has no leverage outside of saying, oh, Joe and the Jets are lying and I did right. Well, you didn't do right because you didn't show up one day like you said you were. So you would have shown up and kind of stayed true to his word. It would be easier for the Jets fans to kind of align with the guy. But for now, I don't care about him. Show up. I don't think the players care either. He wasn't here last year. They're not missing anyone. This isn't, Quinnen's not here and our defense looks different. They lost the guys they lost last year. They know they're a top 5 defense with or without him. I would love for him to show up, but If not, don't. I don't care. We'll go on without you. And if he does, I hope he's pissed off. He fucking hates us, and he gets 20 sacks. Pardon my French.
No, that's funny because I had clipped it up and I didn't end up tweeting it. As I said, because what's going to happen is, so Soundbite has no choice. He's eventually going to show up, and then he's going to be playing on this 1-year deal, and he's just going to be angry. And I was going to use the Star Wars Sith Lord, like, yes, use the hate, let it flow through you,
Exactly.
and just be like, use your angry Jets contract stuff and unload it on everybody, and allow someone else to pay that 30-year-old who's going to be 31, someone else next year. That'd be brilliant.
Yeah, you can wear Eagles gear underneath. You can wear a shirt that says F. Joe Douglas. I do not care. Do your job. Do it at a high level underneath that jersey, and hopefully McDonald steps up for next year. Because clearly at this point, it seems like he's nothing but he'll be here for the next 9 months, if that.
Yep, damn straight. Nate, thanks for the call, brother.
I appreciate it. I'm approaching traffic and Morristown, New Jersey. I'll be screaming at Joe from the stands today. Thanks for the time. Appreciate it, Paul.
Yeah, I love it. Guys, keep the calls coming. We have 500 people in the room. Make sure you guys, as you're coming in and out, like the video, hit subscribe, spread the gospel of Boy Green Daily. Okay. Oh, we haven't had this guy on the show in a while. Let's bring him on. Bobby Midnight on the program. What's up, Bobby?
How you doing, Boy Green? How you feeling?
I'm great. It's good to see you, pal.
Do you hear the sad news?
No, what?
I won't be able to come to opening game.
Wait, why? What happened? What?
Because I went to the wound clinic yesterday, and the doctor said I won't be ready to come down.
Oh, that's too bad, Bobby. I was looking forward to meeting you for the first time, pal.
I know you and your dad and your mom.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to try to sell my tickets, can you try to sell my tickets then?
Yeah. Let me see. How many did he have, Bobby?
Two.
2 tickets. Okay. Yeah, let me see. So I will open that up to the chat first. Long story short, everybody, me and Nick Shine are hosting Jets Patriots home opener. I already think I know someone in the back of my head that might buy these, but if any of you guys wanted to go to the Jets Patriots home opener Thursday, September 19th, and we suddenly, unfortunately for Bobby's sake, have 2 tickets now available. Again, I will be spreading this out to social media and others, but people live here can have the first dibs on it. If you'd like to join us, if you get those 2 tickets, you'll be sitting with me, Nick Shine, Woody, my father, my mother, everybody. We'll be all hanging out right there. So if you guys have a inkling, feel free to reach out to me on all social media at BoyGreen25. That's BOY Green the color 25. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Reach out if you have interest. Again, we now have 2 tickets available. I'm sorry for that, Bobby. That's
I'm sorry.
But we'll try to help you out. We'll try to help you out and get those
Nick
tickets
Shine's
sold.
doing that too.
Go.
And I owe Nick Shine owes me just $245. Okay, right now for the tickets.
Okay, yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head how much they were, but yeah, that probably
$280, but I owe him $35.
Oh, okay, sure, that's fine. You guys can figure that out. That's no issue. So yeah, but we'll work on that and try to get you those 2 tickets flipped, Bobby.
You want to feel old?
Sure.
Remember the Wonder Years? Remember the Wonder Years?
Sure, yeah.
Remember the girlfriend? What was the girlfriend on the Wonder Years?
I'm not sure.
Winnie. Remember Winnie?
Oh, yes.
She's a grandmother now.
Oh, geez. Wow.
I know. Don't you feel old? I just saw my Facebook page, and then they said, do you feel old? She's a grandmother.
I already had silver whiskers in my beard, but I feel much older now after that information.
Gray hair.
Wow, there you go. Yeah.
I got a whole set of gray hair. So, yeah, this Reddick situation is crazy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very. It's unfortunate.
He should sign. I think he's being an idiot not signing. Isn't he?
I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, to me, if I was in Haason Reddick's position, I would have held in from the very beginning. I would have showed up to the voluntary stuff and done all that. But once you get to training camp, they say, Paul, if you don't show up, we are going to fine the heck out of you. Or you could do, again, the hold in and just wait over there, be in a hoodie and T-shirt, eat some popcorn, and just watch practice, but we can't fine you. And then let me and your agent figure it out. Sure.
That's what he should have done. Just show it up. I agree. It's easy. You can't just show up and eat popcorn. Who can't do that?
Yeah, definitely not.
Right? Yeah, that's true. Are you having a radio station today?
Yes. Yep.
What time
we'll have Nick Ferry on. He joins us, I believe he's first. I think he joins us at 10:30, and then he'll be live from Jets practice, and then we got a Giants guy at 11:30. So we got a football
guy do you have?
Yeah, Antonio Reyes. He's I don't know. He just covers the Giants. He's a new guy I just met this offseason.
Yeah, I'm not happy with the New York Giants. I think
I could imagine.
Yeah, they got rid of Barkley, and look who he signed with.
Oh, I love Saquon, man. If I was a Giants fan, I'd be rocking a Saquon Barkley jersey. He seems like such a great guy.
But look who he went to. What team?
Eagles. Yeah, not great.
Give me sick.
I'm sorry, man. Yeah,
I wouldn't mind if he went to the Dallas Cowgirls, but not the.
Yeah,
Eagles.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay, my radio partner would have felt differently. He's a Giants fan. He would have hated to see him go to the Cowboys, but I guess either way is terrible. So
in the division, I mean, telling you.
No, I got you. It's bad either way. I understand.
I cheer for the Cowboys because what the Eagles did. Remember when Irvin played his last game at the old vet? He got injured, and then they cheer for him.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah, that's what I hated. The fans cheer for him to get hurt.
A phone call? What's happening? Is
Yeah,
that the Wonder Twins calling? What's happening?
No, that's spam. Sorry about that.
No, that's all right.
I
Sound like
hate
a lullaby.
spam.
I almost fell asleep there. Yeah.
No, that's spam. Okay,
spam.
so
I see.
yeah.
Okay. Sure.
I hope you have a great day today, Paul. Nice talking to you.
Great to have you back on the show, Bobby. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I miss you.
Yeah, I miss you too, pal.
Tell your dad I miss him too.
Will do. He'll be here on both shows on the weekend, so I'll let him know.
Yeah.
But we'll work on those tickets for you, okay, Bobby?
Okay, I'll be here Saturday too.
All right, great. I'll see you then, pal.
Okay, bye now.
Yep, there he is. Bobby joining us here on the show. God bless. Bobby. Okay, we'll flip those 2 tickets for him. I think I know a Jet fan who wanted extra tickets. Okay, let me see. Where are we here on the calls? All right, we got a lot of people here. Let's go. All right, let's go to this guy. We got a lot of calls, but we'll go to this guy. B-Mac here on the show. What's up, B-Mac? B-Mac? Can you hear me? Are you mute?
Hey, sorry.
Oh, there he is. So, hey, what's up,
yeah,
B-Mac?
I didn't know I was going to be next, so you were.
No, it's okay. I didn't know either. I just there is. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 callers. So yeah, I didn't know either.
Yeah. All right. Well, I just want to say good morning to you.
Sure.
And
good morning.
I just want to say this.
Okay.
Excuse my language, but Haason Reddick just proved to everybody that he's a lion, dick, pussy.
Wow. Okay, that's colorful.
He's a lion fraud. No, you gave your word. Your word is your word. You told the people that you were going to be there at camp, no matter what the contract situation was. You said that, he said that, he's going to let the contract thing, work out with his agent and Joe Douglas. And I'm going to come to the facility. I'm going to get to know my teammates. I'm going to be on the practice field, and I'm going to work hard, and I'm going to give up my all to the organization. And here we are, August 13th, first preseason game out the way. He's not here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The whole voluntary OTAs, he didn't show up.
He did not.
The mandatory mini camp, he didn't show up. In our training camp, he still didn't show up. So
he did not.
No show for the whole entire
off season. The full shish kebab.
Yeah.
No Reddick.
So people want to blame Joe Douglas, and Joe Doug, you knew what you was getting into when you traded for this guy. You knew he wanted a new contract. And Joe Douglas deserves some blame. I'm not saying that Joe Douglas is blameless, but I put a lot of this on Haason Reddick because even though you knew what your contract situation was, you gave your word on the press conference and said that you was gonna come and give it your all for the Jets and Jets organization, and you didn't.
He said
do
that.
Yeah,
he did not. No, he hasn't.
And he lied.
Definitely
not. Yeah, and he lied, and I think that and for a guy who hasn't, and we all know who Haason Reddick is as a player. No one is discrediting his work in his resume. You know what I mean? Two-time Pro Bowler, 2-time first team All Pro, to double-digit sacks for the last 4 years. The man is a machine. All right, I'm not taking away his on-the-field credit, but he hasn't done that in a Jets uniform yet. You know what I mean?
Yes,
I think he needs to come in and prove to the Jets organization that he's that guy in a Jets uniform than sitting out and being and holding the Jets organization hostage for money that at his age, and you know what I mean, that I don't think he really deserves, especially with a team that's got to pay, that's got to give money to guys like Gary Wilson, Brees Hall, Sauce Gardner, Michael Carter II. Like there's a lot of guys on this roster that still got to get their paycheck as well. You know what I mean? And so I think that for Pop and for everybody that was crucifying Rodgers for missing 2 days of mandatory minicamp after he was at every single voluntary OTA, I hope you have the same energy to Haason Reddick. And they can say, well, it's not the same situation. It's not the same situation.
Of course.
This is a money thing. Rodgers did a practice for a trip to Egypt. No, this is way worse than that. Haason Reddick lied after giving his word that he will come and give it his all. Rodgers let the Jets organization knew months ago that he was going to take the 2 days off, and he would be at every single voluntary OTA. So enough for me, Ramlon. What's your response?
I agree. I think Haason Reddick, it's in his best interest to show up because, again, the fines will stop. We read Josina Anderson's potential solution. That's in the article in the YouTube description down below about him showing up. I think is half the battle. That's going to be a great sign of goodwill after all this crap and demanding a trade and all this crap. Him showing up to one Jets drive in a Jets hat and just sitting on the sideline doing nothing would be massive upgrade over what we have right now because he could no longer be fined. And all of a sudden, now the ball's moving. Okay, the agent and Jets must be talking at this point. I think that's a big piece of the puzzle. What Haason Reddick has to put aside is his ego. He has already lost a ton of money, and what he has to try to avoid is saying, "I don't care now. Now I'm already so deep. I don't give a crap. Keep finding me." We have to hope he does not reach that range because he's already lost a lot of money, but there's a chance he could lose a lot more. So that would be my take on that. The sooner he can arrive to one Jets drive, the better it is for everyone involved. And like I said, the checks keep hitting $50K a day. That's razor blades and lemon juice. And every preseason game is a heftier check. So if I was Haason Reddick, I'd be showing up real quick like.
And there's one thing too. Now he just put a bullseye on his back with a Jet fan base. Because now he's got to show up and he's got to ball out and he's got to show everybody that he's worth that contract.
I agree. The fans are going to be on his ass. Let's say he shows up tomorrow, even if he shows up tomorrow, and then the first game comes by, doesn't get a sack, people are going to be like, "Oh, Haason Reddick, thought you were the second coming of Messiah. Where were you?" People, whether fair or unfair, they're going to be on his ass all season long to show that he is this superstar guy that we have all labeled him to be, and there's more pressure on him because of him, not really showing up this entire offseason, no doubt.
Well, yeah. And then if he comes back and if he slacks or if his production dips or if he gets injured, this media market and this Jet fan base are not like, how they get, and I think that's, Haason Reddick, chose to do this to the wrong fan base, and he has a lot of pressure on them. And so, and then the other question I want to ask you.
Okay.
I've got to ask you this yesterday, but now they do have another joint practice with the Panthers, right? This week.
They do. They have one with the Panthers and one with the Giants next week. I believe the Panthers is Thursday. I can't remember the Giants is the following Thursday, but yeah, they have one a week. One last week with the Commanders, one this week with the Panthers, and one next week with the Giants. Yep.
So, and it's going to be in Carolina, right? It's going to be
yes. This one's in Carolina, just like last year. I believe it's Spartanburg specifically, but yes, it'll be in the Carolina area.
Okay. Now, I don't know what the weather report is going to be that day, but if
I don't either.
Now, let's say if it's pouring rain in again, and if it's set Rodgers out. Look, last week was you give him a pass, understandably, but if they hold him out again because of the rain, do you think you'd be like, okay, now this is ridiculous? Like,
no, hell no. Protect Aaron Rodgers, bubble wrap his ass. I don't give a flying hoot. If there's rain, hurricane, anything. If the Jets go, don't want to compromise him, then don't. A joint practice playing with his teammates in a joint practice or not playing with them will not change whether or not Aaron Rodgers is going to be awesome this year or not. But it can only help if he can play. But if the weather's terrible, I don't want them to play Aaron Rodgers. No, hell no.
But do you think by them doing that, they treating him like he's made out of glass and like he's fragile and brutal?
Well, they're treating him differently because he's Aaron friggin' Rodgers. He's 40 years old, turns 41 in December. So no, I don't think so. I don't think other teammates would go like, wow, Captain injury prone didn't show up. No, I don't think so at all. No. And plus Rodgers pushed back. He wanted to play, but the Jets coach just said no. So Rodgers is not going to just
Rodgers,
say, hey.
Do you think Rodgers is injury prone?
No, I don't.
What I think people get confused with injury prone. Like I think people say injury prone, that means he's older and he's likely to get hurt, or injury prone.
I don't know if that's an older thing. Like people say AVT is injury prone. Is he? I don't know. There's been 2 random injuries. He was never injured in college. Is it injury prone? It doesn't look great. It looks like more injuries than not, but let's see what happens. Stafford had injuries early in his career, and then he never had injuries again relatively until he got to the back end of his career here. So you never know.
But Rodgers is not injury prone. He is coming off of a major injury.
That's what I say. Yes.
Yeah. But as far as him not playing, like, do you like them sit him out? Like, I don't know, man. It's like you can't play scale. You can't be.
That's
scale.
true, and that's why I want him to play in the preseason. But again, if it's a rain situation and you're playing against another team that's trying to take your head off, and there's players that are 54 through 90 on a 90-man roster that are trying to make an impact to make it to the 53. Doing a play on Aaron Rodgers is going to get them noticed, whether for better or for worse. So,
but he does need the reps. But he does need the valuable reps.
Yeah,
right.
But let's just hope the weather's clear. But I don't have a Doppler. I went to school for sports, not weather. Let's just hope the Doppler looks clear. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. In my opinion, again, you had different opinions on it. And
that's okay.
In my opinion, yeah. I just think it's dumb. And if you're going to do that, then sit the whole team out.
Oh, okay, I guess. All right, that's a take. That could be different. I appreciate it, BMAC. Thank you. Wow, that was a journey. Okay, let's go back to the phone lines here. We got a few callers. I'll get to all you guys here. Easy, you're next. You're in the car. What's up, Easy?
Hey, can you see me good?
Yeah. I got a great body shot here. Nice.
I got the phone position. Yeah, I got the phone position in a cup holder. So.
Yeah, sure, that works for me.
I'm headed out to Chapel Hill.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Too bad I'm not getting an education out in Chapel Hill, but I'm just picking up garbage.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. That's all right. What's on your mind, man?
This Haason Reddick thing.
Yeah.
I think if you looked at, your postings and Green Bean and everybody else's postings, he's receiving a lot of venom, and it's all self-inflicted. All the venom is because he lied.
Yes, that's one of my big things that bothers me to my core is that he apparently told the Jets it was all gravy, and he told the Jets it was all gravy. So, like us, the fans, it was gravy through the media and the team. And the team said, okay, cool, here's the line. This is what we agreed on. And then he changed it. The Jets are like, whoa. We've been straight with the entire time. Here's what we said. Bing, boom, bam. And then you said this, and now you're doing this. And that, right. Of course, I can understand from the Jet side, broken trust, like, dude, you said it was this, and now you're throwing a tantrum out in the streets. We're fining you. Yeah, we're not going to bend over backwards for you, pal. So, yeah, that's the part I would imagine angers a lot of Jet fans.
Whoever is advising him is a certifiable moron.
Corey Dandy, his agent, yeah.
Who in their right mind would tell a guy, when you have zero leverage, don't show up? Because even if he holds out this year, the Jets still own his rights next year.
Correct. That is correct. Yes.
So he's just blowing smoke up his own ass.
Yes, which is an odd strat. I've never tried that before, but yeah.
I think you need a bong and some extra hosing or something.
Okay, yeah, hey, everyone's got their own kink, I guess. Yeah.
But seriously, what's he gonna? Even if he shows back up,
Yeah.
How much money has he lost? And if he holds out, all right, here's the thing. If he makes 14.3 or 14.5 a year?
14.25 scheduled. That does not include any fines that
Okay.
he's incurred so far. Yeah.
Okay. So if he doesn't show up this year, he's actually costing himself close to $17 million.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, he's got a mortgage.
Sure.
I'm sure he's got car payments on a couple of very sweet rides.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's got this lifestyle that he's used to living.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised his wife's not slapping him upside the head.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, because I've been in those situations, and if I was on the wrong path, I'm quickly back on the right path. Yes.
I think Joe D needs to talk to his agent and say, whoa, 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 whoa. We need to take the temperature down a little bit.
Especially
Have
after
him
the public trade demands. Yeah.
If I was Joe D, I'd tell him this. Have him come, like you were saying, show up to camp, put the jet hat on the sideline, and let's try to figure this shit out.
100%. Yeah, I think that's the right way to do it. He stops getting
the
fined.
temperature down.
Yeah. Yes.
You want to hold out, fine. Hold in. This way we don't have to keep punishing you
right.
for the bad advice you're getting from whomever is giving you this bad advice.
And it's good PR everywhere because I'm sure the media and everyone will not
it's good
shut
PR
up
for
about it 'cause
both.
it's important. Yeah, right. 100%.
Yeah,
he shows up, they clean some stuff up. Yeah.
Right, and then everyone they go in front of the camera, do some photo ops, have some hugs and kisses between Aaron Rodgers and Jermaine Johnson and everybody. Everything's happy. We all know it's not this. It's all because of money. All these players have limited careers. We get it. Money. You got to make it where you can and shit.
Mm-hmm.
But still, you got to show up.
Yeah, I agree. When Dalvin Cook visited, everyone was just dapping him up the whole time. It's like that, except he's on your team, and you just increase all the vibes. The vibes are bad right now. It just make all the vibes a lot better if he showed up.
If you read Richie's comments on Jets media, everyone is basically saying, excuse my French, fuck him, don't pay him, don't play him, let him rot on the bench, let him sit out. Everyone is saying this on every media thing, on Green Bean, Richie, Jets Talk 24/7, Ian down at Jet Central. Everybody is the same thing.
Yeah, the only thing I'm not willing to do, and I want to make this clear because I've heard some fans ask for this, saying
no trade. No, we're not going to cut him, and we're not going to trade him.
Yeah, exactly. Why would I cut him and allow him to go to some superstar team and then that all works out? No, and we already traded a draft pick, by the way. But no,
the only person I would trade him for, and San Francisco won't do this. What I would trade him for Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah, sure.
That's because he's a young player and he's great. But other than that, I won't trade him. I won't play him. I won't pay him.
There you go.
Unless he comes to camp and plays nice. You got to come and play nice.
Okay. I mean, I
love the guy. He's a great player. This is nothing personal. The only thing is all of us Jet fans are mad at him because he lied.
Yeah.
That's why we're mad. And he's got to get that through his head. We're not mad that he's holding out trying to get his money at this point. We're mad that he lied about it.
Yes. I can concur. That's where I'm
because then we wouldn't have made the trade, and we would have probably kept Franklin Myers. Yeah, we would have kept JFM at that point because we didn't get shit for him anyway. Well, we got like a freaking 6th round pick or something. No,
like a slot.
And he's a good player. Yeah. I mean, I think his agent, when he saw JFM go, thought he had more leverage than he did.
100%. That's what happened. 100%.
This is probably the worst agent advice in the history of the NFL.
Wow. Yeah, you might be right. Ed.
I could see if he was 26. Big difference, but he's 29.
That he is. And he turns 30 in September, so next month. So happy
early
birthday, Haason Reddick, just in case you're watching. Happy birthday, pal. Appreciate it.
And as far as Joe Douglas, I cannot stand the hatred that people are giving Joe Douglas because I know Joe is not stupid. Trader Joe is not stupid. He had received guarantees that this was going to work, that he would play.
I think we lost Easy there. Okay, yep. Sorry, Easy, your call ended up breaking up. But yes, I agree with the point. JD is receiving a lot of hate. All right, let's keep going through the phone lines. We got Chef Kevin Gilbert here on the program with a beautiful backdrop. Okay, we must be at the Chef Kevin Gilbert mansion. This is beautiful. Oh, great. Thanks for inviting us in, pal.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We in sunny Mexico, man. We're
beautiful.
Puerto Aventura is about like 45 minutes south of Cancun.
Wow.
This is a family spot where I'm at. So the family's here for about a week.
Nice.
Just a good
Congratulations.
I appreciate it, man. I was actually I got finished with my exercise, my little morning thing, and then I jumped on and saw that you were on. My time is an hour after, so when you started at 7:30, it was 6:30 my time. I'm like, all right, perfect. I couldn't do the coffee thing because I did my workout, but I got my Powerade, get the electrolytes and all that going on. First off, thank you, man, for having me on your platform. Much appreciated. Bobby Midnight, don't worry, man. Rest up. Take care of your body, man. There's gonna be plenty of Jet games going on from here on forward, man. Just make sure you're good. And for Edward, man, great call. I agreed with most of his points. Thank God that call dropped because he started eating up all my material. Yo, he did a solid job, man. First off, man, for Haason Reddick, this is like for Edward, the person advising Haason Reddick is the same person that represents Joe Douglas. So it's like a weird dynamic.
He is. Okay, I did not know that. I was trying to double check that, but I couldn't get it. So, and he's the same guy that represents CD Lamb. So there's a lot of action there.
Yeah, so he mentioned about Brandon Ayuk. I wouldn't be mad if we did something to get CD Lamb or get something for Devontae Adams. The thing is, the front office, the Jets team, they know a lot more than us, obviously. So with our coach Saleh, with Jeff, they see what we have on defense. So Clemens, he might not be everybody's favorite, but if you're looking at the whole defense, position by position, that might be the worst link. Look everywhere else. I really feel strongly that we're solid across the board. So maybe we have one or two holes. We don't get a chance to get Reddick, but we can do something with saving that money and shipping them off and acquiring another asset, maybe on the offensive line, on the offensive side of the ball. I think that would really help us out. And then it's more, you reached on this point, a couple other people have, where it's like, it sets a bad tempo for the organization if we just cave in, give them a boatload of money, and now everybody else is looking for like, hey, what about me? What about my handout? And that's something that we can't afford to do because we have that 2022 draft class who's looking to get paid. We have veterans who are looking to get paid. The Reeds, right? The people on the offensive side of the ball. Like, what happens if Smith turns out really well and he's healthy? Are we gonna just let him walk? I think we try to do something to keep him for another year. So, I mean, it's just, there's a lot of things that are going on right now where Haason Reddick's just, we can't say attitude, just his positioning. All right.
Yes.
His positioning, the gentleman shake before we traded, saying like, hey, I'll honor the contract, and then him just, doing a 180, that kind of rubs us the wrong way, which I get, I understand. But this is all just positioning right now. Yeah. And with JD, he's a smart guy, man. He can't just cave in because then he'll kind of just mess up all the other ducks that he has in a row.
100%. That's what people are not understanding. If he just caves to Haason, there's some Jet fans I know that are out there in our universe say, just pay the man. Let's figure it out. It's not my money. Blah, blah, blah. Let's pay him. Because then every Garrett Wilson, DJ Reed, maybe not DJ Reed because he's a free agent next year, but all the other ones who are still under contract, Garrett, Sauce, Breeze, they're going to go, oh, so I just got to stomp my feet around and throw a tantrum and I'm going to get exactly what I want. Cool. And then all of a sudden the culture and all things could be up for, I don't know if any of those players would do that, but it's just the point that if you set that precedent of that's how it operates, that's how you get money around here, especially for new guys coming in, that could be really, really bad really quick.
Yeah, I'm with you. And what I didn't really see that stuff. I like, the Jake's my guy. I like UBG. I watched a couple of the Jets guys, so I haven't seen what Edward was talking about with the other programs. But
I have not either, so I don't know what he's talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't surprise me because us Jet fans were sick. We're sick in the head. We're just pissed off with a lot of stuff. We're just angry. We're miserable. We get good things. It gets thrown away. So I understand the frustration, but we can't be like irrational. We have
Right.
to make sure that, in JD we trust, because for the most part with this offseason, 95% of his moves have been solid moves. So I can't feel like we got to jump out the window on this one. It's just being strategic, being patient. Those that were thinking that they were on the Haason Reddick side, thinking that there was some foolery going on, now we're starting to see some more stuff come out to light on the Jets part, where it's like, hey, look, we had an understanding from the beginning that this is how it was going to be. It was going to be played out, and then we'll do something with the contract afterwards. Now, if he had, if just devil's advocate kind of thing, where if he plays this season, has 10 plus sacks or whatever, does great, and then we renege, we don't, do something contractually, then, that's on us. But I
Right.
feel like, it's important just to kind of let everything pan out, trust the front office, trust Coach Sala. I'll say it again, trust Coach Sala, because he's developing these players, these defensive players, he's developing them. Clemens, we didn't think he did all that great last year. I mean, the stats will show it, the attitude, whatever. But for him to start now in that JFM position, to be from what just my eyes, from what I've seen, he doesn't look horrible, but he doesn't look like a stud. So that's just a position that we had to fill right now. We'll see what else is coming in from the depth behind. We got another preseason game this Saturday. Let's see what the defense has in store. I really feel like Salah and Jeff and the front office knows what they have on defense, where it's not a panic button right now to just throw the bag to Haason, and that could really be a morale team boost, like just messes the whole thing up by just caving in. So I really feel like just trust the defense, trust our coach, trust the front office. I really feel like good things will happen, man, if we just be a little bit more patient.
No doubt. I appreciate the call. Chef, thanks for calling us from Mexico, baby. Enjoy.
My brother, appreciate everything you do, man.
There he is, Chef Kevin Gilbert, joining us on the show. I'll try to go rapid fire, get, like I said, to all these calls before I have to go to the radio show. I know we got a lot of people waiting here. Guys, make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe. Got nearly 600 people in the room. We go next. Johnny Boy here on the show. What's up, Johnny?
What's going on, brother? I'll be real quick.
Sure.
The Haason Reddick shit, it is what it is.
Yeah.
There's nothing that we could do.
Right.
He makes our fucking team better.
Yes.
Both sides fucked up.
Yep.
That's it. I'm tired already of the whole Haason Reddick shit. It is what it is. It'll get figured out. We got to worry about what we got in right now. But he does make the team better. Anybody that says different, y'all bugging. That man is a monster. I was more or less calling in, right? With that being said and everything, right? Did you see any of the practices from yesterday?
Did I see? Say that one more time?
Did you see the practices yesterday? Like any of the highlights?
Oh, no. Oh, outside of the Tyler Conklin one-handed catch where I was like, oh, baby. That's the only one I saw.
Dude, man, Conklin with Rodgers this year is going to be magical. Conklin and fucking Rucker, dude. Holy moly. It's going to be my bad for cursing. I know.
No, that's okay. Hopefully Rucker heals up. He's battling a couple of things. He'll be out for a few days. But yeah, Rucker, when he's healthy, man, man, all these guys, high tide rises all boats, man. Players that were here are going to be here. Players that were here are going to be here. It's just crazy.
But I wanted to ask you, because I was talking about the tight ends, right? And you saw the game. What was your take, and what did you think of Zach Ertz when you saw him?
Yeah. The good thing that I like is that the blocking. He was involved in a ton of blocking, which is something that they criticized him coming out of Old Dominion, said he's just this big-ass, lanky, goofy-ass receiver that has no real blocking prowess, but he's like this athletic specimen. So it's kind of cool. That must speak to the Jets because he was the starting tight end in the game. There's no Conklin, no Ruckert in the game, but Kuntz was basically the starting tight end from the get-go with Kenny Yeboah. They were running 12 personnel, and both of them were out there a lot. But, man, Kuntz putting him in blocking, to me, that's a great sign, hopefully, of what they either believe he's doing or getting the reps to do, because that's a missing piece to the puzzle. If he gets that part of the game, obviously the ceiling is unbelievable.
Yeah, man. Bro, you're right on point, because that's exactly what I saw. The blocking was there, and I was like, holy moly, this dude is blocking the correct way. He's learning. Aaron Rodgers knows what he's talking about when it comes to players, and he says that. That catch that he did, that Malachi went ahead and caught.
Oh, that one too. We're just breaking tackles left to right. Terrific.
So It's exciting, man. We have stuff. I think that we're going to be playing with leads, and we're about to see a different defense, a defense that's going to go ahead and get these fumbles and be able to go ahead and pick off the ball, because we know that the other squad is going to be throwing the ball a lot more to try to catch up. So, BG, I know you got to be out, man. So I just wanted to go ahead and say that. Everybody, let's go ahead and do the whole Aaron Rodgers and RELAX. Relax. We're good,
Let's
brother.
hope so. I hope so. Thank you, Johnny, for the call. All right, let's jump to our next one. Terrence here on the show. What's up, Terrence?
Hey, what's up, Boy Green? How you doing?
It's good to see you, pal. I love that studio, baby.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I just want to say a couple stories here.
Sure, yeah.
And I know a lot of you Jet fans could probably relate to this. You know how like you want to go out, you got like $20 to spend, you go out, and you're like, I don't know, only got $20, but you're optimistic, so you go. I'm going. So you go out and you spend $20, right? But then you find $50 on the floor. So you end up leaving with more than when you came in. Reddick, to me, at this situation, got those other line defensive ends there salivating. Oh, you don't want to come in and take your spot? I will take your spot. And we got guys on the team that are hungry and they are ready. So I don't see the Reddick situation. First of all, he's never played for us, so we don't even know how good he's going to be with us, even though as good as he is, you know? But I think of it as we got Reddick, but we're going to leave with McDonald, our guy.
Interesting. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The one that we
That's a
can.
good point.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing. I was like, because the Jets made a decision, and this is a great reverse point that I don't think a lot of people brought up. In March technically is when they traded for him. April became official. They traded for Haason Reddick because they thought they needed him. Now that, and this is a great point, because I've been to a job before in my life where I was working the job. For some reason, I had to stay out a week. And they determined that week, wow, we don't need Paul. We can operate the business without Paul. Paul, peace, see you. And I was like, oh, geez, that sucks. Out of a job. We thought we needed Reddick. You get Reddick in there. Will McDonald's taking the reps. All of a sudden, you're like, whoa, Reddick's a little higher than we thought. Wait a second. Maybe this. I love the optimistic take, because Will McDonald has been showing flashes. And maybe to your point, that's a great story. I had never thought about it in that way, but maybe that's the key there. Interesting.
And then I got one more on Reddick's side.
Okay,
now,
go ahead.
I'm going to bring up LeBron James. Everybody knows LeBron. LeBron lost 6 times in the finals.
Yes.
If he walks into a party with Michael Jordan and all them other greats, right? He's going to be like, man, these guys won. Some didn't lose. I lost 6. You know what I mean? When Reddick, with his contract, walks into a room with other defensive ends making 2 or 3 times more than him, he's probably feeling that way. Oh, man, these guys again. And they're probably talking about him. That dude over there got 10 sacks when you getting this. You know what I mean? That's how it is.
It's true.
It's like a beautiful woman walking in. All the other girls are like, you know what I mean? And so right. So both sides got their point of view, but at the end of the day, we got players that are on the bench that are dying to take his spot. I'm not worried about it at all.
Okay. I love it. Terrence, beautiful, brother. Thanks for calling into the show.
All right, guys. Have a good morning.
There he is, part of the Boy Green Coffee Club. We have more calls, but folks, I have to go. So I'm so sorry to all the people that are remaining. I know we got a few down there. I apologize. I'm so sorry. We got more cars. We had callers going on and on and on since whatever it was, 8:20, like nonstop. So thank you to the 20 or so people that were calling into the show. That's amazing. Make sure you guys like the video. Hit subscribe. We'll be back on, what's today, Tuesday? We'll be back on actually later today at 3 o'clock. Boy Green meets Woody. I'm sure we'll have more to say on this Haason Reddick situation. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Again, like the video, hit subscribe. If you're enjoying the content, join the Boy Green Coffee Club. There is a link down below that you can punch your own ticket to the Boy Green Coffee Club. Join the club. It's only $2.99 a month, and spread the good gospel, baby. Thanks everybody, and we'll see you then.